I got one more in me, Coach. And we're gonna go bird mode for this one. I did not realize these 2B continues get so short. I'm so used to them taking like 1.5 to 2 hours each. But they really are just like split by like day or like scene. And some scenes are just shorter than others. December 25th, 10 a.m., Detention Center, Visitor's Room. Hey, it's Miss Bound. It's like shit goes down in these games by having a burger. Well, that's always what they do. They just go get burgers. Noodles in the Japanese version. Oh, Mr. Fender. Mr. Edgeworth. I'm so sorry about what happened yesterday. She looks rather tired. Has Mr. Von Karma finished interrogating you? Yes, though he really only seemed interested in how I melted those sculptures. Now noodles, though. No, that's later. You here to see Mr. Tangaroa, too? Yes, I'm terribly worried about him. Detective Bad? What are you doing back there? Oh, just happened to be here. I'll be heading back to the scene soon. Not sure anyone just happens to be at a detention center, but okay. Good morning. Mr. Tangaroa, what happened to you? Oh no, Samson, what did they do to you? They didn't seem to want to let me sleep. I had no idea interrogations could be so involved. Sorry if I seem distracted. I think I'm a little tired. They're not letting you sleep. That's not police work, that's torture. What's going on here, Detective Bad? Yeah, exactly, torture. I'm not the one doing the interviewing. It's the guy they put on the case before me. I like Von Karma's methods about as much as you do, which is why I'm doing what I can to help. It was Detective Bad who got me out of there. I'd still be in that interrogation room right now if it weren't for him. Detective Bad really is trying to look out for Mr. Tangaroa in his own way, it seems. Alright, Eddie, let's share yesterday's findings with Mr. Tangaroa. You got it, Mr. E. My notepad's at the ready. Mr. Tangaroa, we found out quite a bit if you'd like to hear it. Of course, thank you. You alright, Mr. Tangaroa? You seem kinda spaced out. I'm fine, I just think my blood sugar might be running a little low. Samson, do you have anything that might give him a little energy boost? Mr. Tangaroa? You're kinda swaying all over the place. I'm sorry, like I said, I think my blood sugar might be running a little low. Huh? Is that chocolate? For me? Oh, those are the chocolates I wish I could just give them to you, Mr. Tangaroa, but the rules exactly don't allow me to do so. Oh, that's a shame, but rules are rules, I suppose. There must be some way we can hand them to him. Detective Bad is noting the meaningful looks in his direction. Let me take a look at them. If they seem legit, I might consider passing them on to the suspect. Give him a calorie, mate, yeah. I might consider passing them on to the suspect. Thank you, Detective Bad. My hero! I'm touched. Thank you, Detective. Yeah, whatever. Just sit tight. Here. You don't know how much this means to me. Yeah, keep it down, will you? For both our sakes. Yeah, Bad could give him a lollipop. He probably has a ton of them. Of course, Detective. I wouldn't wish to put your livelihood at risk. Now to sample these treats. Detective, I apologize for putting you in a tight spot. I didn't do it for you. It was my call. Guess you're not such a bad guy after all, huh? Oh, the sweetness. I feel like a man reborn. Were they your handiwork, Judy? Yes, how were they? Feel the melt. Soft and smooth. Chocolate that'll comfort and soothe, ear to ear, head to toe. Smile and savor the taste as it flows. Delicious. They're not exactly beautiful, but they're sweet and oh so flavorful. Thank you, Judy. I just realized his hair went white after one day of interrogation. His hair was black originally. And after one night of interrogation, it's white. I'm glad you like them. And I'm glad you're back to your old self. My apologies, friends. The food they serve here is just so flavorless. Between that and the lack of sleep, I was about ready to collapse from sheer despair. They must have did some shit to him, yeah. It's Von Karma, you surprised? Yeah. No, I think it was he said Bad said it was the previous detective on the case, the one Von Karma let go. So apparently whoever that is doing a real number on him. Wow, is the food here really all that bad? Just the usual. French fries, ham sandwich, stuff like that. Yes, and yet I couldn't taste a thing. Anyway, I'm heading back to the scene. Before you go, Detective, do you have any new information to share? Oh yeah, you were right about the victim's identity. Frost worked as a sculptor in France, where he was known as Paul Halique. Artie Frost was Paul Halique. I never would have imagined. Poor Mr. Halique. So the famous French sculptor wasn't a Frenchman after all, huh? This all would certainly explain why Mr. Halique was such a recluse and refused to show his face in public. He was busy working on his greatest masterpiece, apparently. Bunch of Zodiac statues. Guess he'll never finish them now. He never finished his greatest masterpiece? Nah. Seems he was making statues for each season. But he never got around to the winter constellations. It's all sounding very familiar. The winter constellations? You mean Taurus and Gemini? So the two he made out of ice would have completed the set. Yeah, and now they're nothing but puddles. What a bummer. I'm so sorry. Oh no, Miss Bound, I wasn't blaming you. One last thing. Seems he had himself a bit of a spending habit when it came to his work. Every statue cost him millions to make. Which means he was always strapped for cash. We're checking to see if there's any chance someone called in a debt. It's not even famous artists are safe from money problems. Do you have any idea why he entered the confectionery contest? None. Guy didn't even tell his family. I see. Alright, I really gotta get going. I'll go fetch another guard, but I can't be hanging around here any longer. Understood, Detective. We'll see you again shortly. He's a good man. He certainly is. And an uncompromising one. Someone who could be trusted to stand up for what he believes in. And to scare the pants off anybody new he meets. Now, what were you going to tell me? No, you were all going to tell me what you learned yesterday? Damn, yeah. Of course, allow me to give you a full report. Thank you for that. And allow me to apologize on Judy's behalf. I thought my desk was going to fall over for a second. It's just my chair collapsing again. God damn it. I felt my knee, like, grazing the thing, as the chair lowered, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my god. I'm fine. I'm so sorry. It's fine, Mr. Tangaroa. As I told her yesterday, the important thing is what we learned is that we learned the truth in the end. Now, would you mind if I ask you a question or two? By all means, I'll gladly share all that I can. What can you tell me about the contestants who took part in the final round of the contest? Let's see, there was Miss Scone. I loved her design concept. Unfortunately, her entry was in violation of the rules, so I had to disqualify her. Mr. Gusto's creations were a perfect balance of flavor and design, at least up through the semi-final. But disappointingly, his entry for the final was subpar on both counts. And there was actually something a little unusual about his entry for the semi-final as well. Which was, tasted identical to Mr. Frost's. They may have looked different, but I could have sworn I was eating the same thing. Huh? And what exactly did his work look like? Oh, there should be a photograph back at my mansion. I'll show it to you later, Mr. Edgeworth. Much appreciated, Mr. Mistbound. Mr. Frost's entry for the finals. That was truly sublime. So you were able to finish judging it? Even though his body had been discovered in the meantime? Yes, I wasn't aware of what happened until after I'd completed my assessment. Mr. Frost wasn't in his room when I visited, so I took the liberty of sampling a bit. Part of the lyre, I believe. Never tasted anything like it. It was like a dream. I was so moved that I burst into song. I'm sorry, but are you saying that the lyre tasted good? I'd like to hear more about that, if you don't mind. Not sure I see anything out of the ordinary. Mr. Tangaroa is exhausted from the interrogation. Try to avoid causing him unnecessary stress. Actually, don't worry about it. It's not important. In fact, you could just forget about it entirely. I'll try, but you worried me a little, I have to confess. You're quite sure it was the lyre you tasted when you sampled Mr. Frost's work? I'm certain of it. It was the part of the Gemini sculpture, which was the only sculpture in that display case. Mr. Tangaroa, would you mind taking a look at this photograph for me? So the part you tried was the lyre, the one shown here without any strings. Oh, there were strings originally. That was the part that I ate. So the strings are missing because Tangaroa ate them all, and he enjoyed them. Miss Scone told us she ate part of the lyre as well, but she said it was far too salty for her to finish. Then it's true. The truth is I've suspected for a while there might be something wrong with my sense of taste. Something wrong? How so exactly? There's a taste disorder characterized by an inability to detect salty flavors, and I suspect I've been suffering from it. I ate so many sweet foods on a daily basis that it took me a while to notice. But there's no denying it now. That would explain why the food here seems so bland to him. Yeah, ham and french fries are pretty salty to have flavor, so... Is that real? I have no idea. Chat, is the salt disorder real? Probably. What? But your taste buds are your livelihood. Even if there's some long-term treatment options, I highly doubt a total cure for your condition exists. Nevertheless, you should put in a request to the police for a proper evaluation. Oh, that won't be necessary. I have a recipe for a cure back at my mansion. You do? I do. You can take a look at it for yourself if you like. Samson, we can't show that recipe to just anybody. Judy, Mr. Edgeworth is hardly just anybody. He's my attorney, and I have no secrets from him. Salt emojis. Yes, you're right, of course. If that is what you wish. What on earth is the secret recipe for a miracle cure they've been hiding? Well, I suppose I should be getting back. Alright, we'll be right behind you. Judy. Yes, Samson? There's more to life than just me. Please, Judy, think about the life you want to live. Because I won't always be around. Don't say that. Without you, I don't have a life to live. So I'll be waiting, right here at the mansion, until you come home. Now, if you'll excuse me. Wait, Miss Bound. Judy. Whoa, she seems really upset. Thought I saw tears in her eyes. Why'd you even say all that to her? Because I worry about her. She can't keep putting my needs ahead of her own. What do you mean? The Halik collection, the candy making. It's all because she thinks these things will make me happy. She never thinks about what she wants, what she likes. I just want her to be her own person and to choose her own destiny. That last thing I want for her is for her to miss out on all that life has to offer because of me. I guess that makes sense. He really does see her as his own child. What parent wouldn't want their child to walk their own path? And what parent wouldn't want to do everything they could to protect them? I know exactly how he feels in this moment. I think I've asked everything of you I can for now, Mr. Tangaroa. Should be getting back to the scene of the crime. Oh, you're leaving? I see. I suppose I'll be getting back to the interrogation room for another session. Yes, we'll have to do something about that. You'll speak to the police for me. That too, but I'll be putting something else in place as well. An ace up our sleeve for when the time comes. Look forward to learning more. I'm counting on you, Mr. Edgeworth. We'll be back to brief you, Mr. Tangaroa, every day. And Judy, too. Thank you, Eddie. I'll look forward to it. Yeah, he is built like a JoJo character, as you said. Mr. Tangaroa, your interrogator will do everything in his power to extract a confession from you. Hate to see an innocent man suffer like this. But please, you have to do everything you can to hold out. If you can't, Mr. Von Karma will use that confession against you for as long as this case lasts. And it'll make it that much harder for me to save you. I understand, and I'll try. I won't give up until you're out of there, Mr. Tangaroa. You have my word on that. My voice is like wearing down. Oh no. Ah. Whew. December 25th, 11:03 a.m. Contest venue, fountain room. Detective Bad, thank you again for what you did earlier. Yeah, thanks a ton. What are you talking about? No need to be shy about it. Never mind that now. Guessing you two are back here, looking to investigate some more. We are indeed. We'll need something solid if we're to save Mr. Tangaroa. Well, I hate to break it to you, but apart from this room, the whole place is on lockdown. What? But we need to see those other rooms. This is Mr. Von Karma's doing, I presume. Who else? Haven't seen the autopsy report yet either. You guys probably got a hand in that too. And don't expect to talk with anybody, except us cops and Miss Bound. Everybody else is gone, and now Von Karma will be handing out phone numbers. Is this all just a game to him? Why does he have to go so far? So what's your plan of action, Detective? Same as before. Do what I can to help you. Uncover the truth, like I promised. You'll have my gratitude. Just you wait, Mr. Von Karma. We're gonna beat you and your bag of dirty tricks. Detective, may we conduct a brief investigation of this area? Sure, but like I said, everywhere else is off bounds. We won't be seeing those rooms again. That's fine, as long as there's at least some way of continuing our investigation, we'll make do. The statues on the fountain depict cherubs enjoying some chocolate fondue. Paul Halik's work, apparently. Gotta hand it to him. They look so real. Detective, are you saying you've personally seen cherubs before? Attorneys, always poking holes in people's words. What, did I do something wrong? Moment of your time, Eddie? Sure thing, Mr. E. What's up? Do you have any thoughts on the case? Oh, you bet I do. Mr. Tangaroa's amazing display being used to store the body. Miss Scone's beautiful dreamscape being used to store the murder weapon. We're really seeing some beautiful things being used for ugly. Oh my god. Come on, that one could have been avoided. Really seeing some beautiful things being used for ugly purposes on this case, huh? Suppose we are. And to make things worse, Miss Bound seems super down. When I asked if you had any more thoughts on the case, I was thinking about more useful insights. Oh, sorry, Mr. E. Did I do something wrong? Worry about you sometimes, Eddie. How are you liking your first crime scene investigation, Eddie? Oh, it's great. I've been taking notes about everything, and I'm learning so much. I'm so happy you let me tag along, Mr. Edgeworth. Mercedes Bang. God damn it. So you want to be an attorney, huh? You bet I do. Give anything to be a hero of justice, to help the helpless and fight for what's right. First time I saw Mr. E do his thing in court, I knew I found my calling. You know, cops look out for people too. Sure, but I want to be an attorney. Well, good luck to you. Get the feeling Detective Bad might be pining for an apprentice of his own. Real attorney's badge. I'll have one my own day. Just you wait and see. Well, just remember the scales represent justice and fairness. It's not enough to simply wear the badge. Your job is to prove yourself worthy of wearing it. Yes, sir. I should make sure to set a worthy example. An edge-worthy example. Ba-dum-bum! Seems these instruments were used in Mr. Tangaroa and Missbound's TV show, Bacon Bop. There's some of the few things in here that aren't made of candy. Is it just me, or does the detective seem a little disappointed? There's a drum set here decorated to look as if it were made out of cakes. You must play it on Bacon Bop. Detective, about these drums. We already checked. There's nothing inside any of them. And no sign of anything having been put inside or taken out either. They're not relevant to the case. Already done your homework, I see. Heh, may like lollipops a little too much, but I'm no sucker. Authorized personnel only beyond this point, I'm afraid. Meaning what? I'm not authorized? So sorry, sir. No authorized personnel either. So nobody's allowed in. Let me guess, Von Karma's orders? Guy's really starting to grind my gears. Santa Claus statue. Is it made of candy too? That door leads to Tangaroa's room, so yeah, could be he made that thing too. Speaking of Santa, that reminds me, I still need to find a present for Miles. He wanted an attorney's badge. Wonder if Mr. Tangaroa would make one out of candy for me if I asked. That's the door to Gusto's room. Guess that candy reindeer is meant to show the way. Big antlers like that. Must be a bull. Think not. Male reindeer shed their antlers in the winter. That's why I said stab them, yeah. Therefore, this must be female. Thanks, Mr. Trivia. Attorneys. I'll teach you about reindeer in law school, detective. This is quite the trophy. Awarded Tangaroa, First Place International Confectioners Association Annual Spectacular. It's made of candy. Guess it wasn't meant to last forever. Makes sense. Prizes and fame. None of it lasts forever, right? Doubt it's anything quite that deep. Gregory is so nice, like God. Yeah, he is. Just to drill in the fact that him being murdered so long ago is just sad. These trophies all belong to Mr. Tangaroa. But they're not all confectionery contests. Some appear to be for charity work. Testament to both his character and his professional achievements. What's this one here? In recognition of Bacon Bop's long-standing achievement in making children's dreams come true. That's so sweet it's got me wanting to watch it. Scone's room is through here. It's marked by a snowman. Candy snowman by the look of it. Oh yeah? Well, I'll be. He's really sizing it up. He isn't thinking of making that into his next lollipop, is he? It's a Christmas tree made from candy. These candy statues have everybody on edge. Ants get in here. That's our scene ruined. Yes, it would be pretty disastrous, I suppose. There's a lyre here. And some maracas designed to look like ice cream cones. They're so well made it's hard to tell what's candy and what's not just by looking. Reach out and touch them, but then I'd be disturbing the crime scene. Hands off. I already checked them out. They're real. Check them out how exactly? Did you manhandle vital evidence, detective? The way he's standing here looks like Judy Bounce's hair is like part of his hair. Like he's got wild hair. I didn't touch them. Not with my hands, at least. Did he? Never mind, I don't want to picture it. The sign shows which artist's work is in display in which room. From left to right, Mr. Tangaroa, Mr. Gusto, Miss Scone, and Mr. Frost. Incidentally, this sign is also made from candy. What were they going to do with all this candy? Was someone going to eat it when the contest was over? Excuse me, may I ask what you're investigating? Sir, I'm analyzing the fountain water to see what it might be in it, sir. And what did you find? Chocolate, and what looks like the kind of flavorings and colorings used in frozen desserts, sir. Composition of the chocolate seems to be the same as that of Mr. Tangaroa's work. And the flavorings and colorings match the profile of those used in Mr. Frost's ice sculptures. Those little rivers flow from the 4 artist rooms right here to this fountain. Guess that's how the stuff from the melted sculptures wound up in here. That's not all, sir. We also found blood. What? Why is there blood in the water? Think back to our investigation of the murder scene, detective. Take another look at the scene in front of us, detective. Very conspicuous pool of blood should be yours missing, yep. Victim's blood was mysteriously absent, as was the part of the chocolate chest it had pooled on. I believe the blood probably belonged to...
Take that!
The victim, huh? I'll have the guy compare it with the blood and the murder weapon. It's a match. The blood in the fountain is Frost's. Why would someone send the victim's blood downstream and into the fountain like this? Frost's blood was found in the fountain, but not at the scene of the crime. Where does this elevator go? Second floor. Tangaroa and Bound live up there. Sounds like they live a pretty charmed life. Tea parties, candy making, that kind of thing. They even have a garden. Must be nice on a sunny day. That does sound nice. Perhaps they'll invite us when this all's all over. You'd come, wouldn't you, Detective? Don't get ahead of yourself now. Not in the habit of palling around with attorneys. Miss Bound, we're here to continue our investigation. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm so sorry about earlier. She's still looking kind of down the dumps, Mr. E. She must have been greatly taken aback by what Mr. Tangaroa had to say. Found the photograph of the semifinals entries for you. Here, it's all yours. Wow, Miss Scone sure knows how to make a cute cake. Yes, Samson loved her design for that one. And he loved the designs and flavors of Mr. Gusto and Frost's entries, too. Only problem was, as Samson mentioned earlier, they tasted exactly the same. I mean, they look the same, too. They have the same big flower and the same kind of tail on both creatures. I'm sorry, but Gusto's is kind of better, because bird. However, their respective entries to the final tasted nothing alike, it seems. Was there anything else of note that changed between the semi-final and the final? Nothing major, but I guess there was one thing. Mr. Gusto's son was always here with him throughout the contest, but he was nowhere to be seen during the final. Why would his son come and hang out at a contest venue of all places? You sure you're happy for us to keep hold of all this? Of course. Hope it helps with your investigation. Semifinals entry added to the court record. Oh, and I also have the book containing the recipe for the cure Samson mentioned. We've seen this book before. It was in the chocolate frame in Tangaroa's room. That's right. Put it on display there so that everybody could see the grand prize. What? The cure is in the ultimate cookbook? So it's not a book of dessert recipes, I take it? Oh no, we told the contestants, of course. But I guess nobody told you yet. So the contestants all knew the ultimate cookbook was this whole time. A book containing formulas for creating a cure for taste disorders and other chemical and pharmaceutical items. I'd like to hear more about the cookbook, if you don't mind, Miss Bound. Frost's blood was found in the fountain, but on the scene of the crime, Frost and Gusto's creations had different designs but tasted the same. Book containing formulas for okay. That's all there is. There's a chocolate doorknob here somewhere, probably. The guy's gonna... Gregory's gonna eat it, bite on it, and then make a face at the camera, if he does. So if I understand correctly, the Ultimate Cookbook is actually a collection of recipes for different medicines. Exactly, or rather, totally new medications that haven't made it to market yet, to be precise. To the right buyer, a pharmaceutical company, for example, it would be worth a fortune. But why make that the grand prize in a confectionery contest? Mr. Tangaroa is the sole heir to the Tangaroa family fortune. Perhaps you've heard of the Tangaroa Group? The Tangaroa Group? I think I've heard of them somewhere before. It's a major pharmaceutical corporation. Sells all kinds of pills and poisons. Oh yeah, that new Cold Killer Pro has been making some real waves since it went on sale. That's so Cold Killer X that Phoenix uses in the third game. It's from Tangaroa Corp. Always reach for a Cold Killer when I'm feeling under the weather. Which is never, as far as I've seen. I'd like to hear more about the Tangaroa Group, if you don't mind. So did Mr. Tangaroa not want to take over his parents and go into the family business? No, he preferred the idea of making people's lives better through the power of confectionery. And his parents supported him in his quest to become the best in the world. Then when they passed away, he inherited the cookbook. Why would he make such a valuable heirloom a mere contest prize? He's been hounded by so many people looking to make that book their own. He was tired of it. But it would have been an insult to his parents' memory to simply give it away. So he decided to find somebody he felt worthy of it. I'll bet the board of directors loved that, handing over the fruits of all their expensive research to someone else. They hated the idea, of course, which is why Delicia entered the contest. Tangaroa Group wanted her to win the book back for them. Copy pasta that shit or what? Wait, what? So you knew she was a pharmacist all along? Yes. And not only that, I told her I told her how to appeal to Samson's tastes. I tried to help her win. But why? Wanted to protect Samson by protecting the Tangaroa Group. Oh, so Miss Bound works for the Tangaroa Group. She literally works for Samson's family. Cool. If that cookbook fell into another company's hands, the board would never forgive him. So I wanted to find a way to keep it within the company, but a way that Samson couldn't object to. Dude, there's a book with valuable information that could help out so many. Copy that and send it to everyone. True. Make it public. Make that shit on the cheap. So that's how Miss Scone managed to make it this far in a contest she had no business taking part in. Miss Scone wasn't the only one pretending, was she? Mr. Frost wasn't really a confectioner either. And he still made it all the way to the final, just like she did. Not bad. Yes, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Such a talented sculptor and a gifted crafter of desserts, too. Gifted indeed, judging by the standard of his work in the final. But how did one man produce pieces of that size and quality in such a short period of time? I'm not sure I have much more to tell you. But if there's anything else I could help you with, I'd be happy to, of course. Certainly very keen to ensure that she does what she can for Mr. Tangaroa. Certainly use a cup of the tea you made us yesterday, if you wouldn't mind. I think that might help me more with the investigation. I think that might help move the investigation along nicely. Make it free, yeah. I'll have some too. Your tea's to die for, Miss Bound. Well, how could I possibly refuse? I'll bring it right out. You know, I think that cheered her up a little. Learned a little more about the contest participants. But there's still one question involving Mr. Gusto for which we never got an answer. Nothing at all, Mr. Gusto? You went into Mr. Frost's room, didn't you? Perhaps you could tell us why. Sure, I was. Objection. Silence. You're not to give the attorney even the tiniest shred of information. What was he doing in Mr. Frost's room? And that's not all. I also have questions about the work he submitted for the semifinals. Confectioner admits to lacking design sense, and a sculptor with it in spades. Mr. Gusto could not have hoped to win such a high-level contest by himself. Which is why I'm beginning to wonder if there was some sort of connection between him and Mr. Frost. Detective, I need to ask Mr. Gusto a few more questions. His story still doesn't quite add up to me. Me neither. We need to figure out how to get in touch with him. Oh, do you now? Good luck with that, because I have no intention of allowing it. Mr. Von Karma, I'm already in the midst of my own investigation into Gusto, so there's no need for the likes of you to pester him with the same questions again. I will, however, be happy to answer any questions you might have. Seems dead set on preventing me from talking to Mr. Gusto, in which case, fine, then allow me to take you up on your offer. Very well, what is it? I'd like you to tell me about the connection between Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost. Gusto and Frost's connection. The connection between Gusto and Frost. It was simply a matter of coincidence. They both happened to be taking part in the same contest. And that's all? That's all I have to say to you. What? But that doesn't help us at all. We'll have to confront him with the evidence if we want to draw the truth out of him. And it's imperative that we do. He's clearly hiding something.
Objection!
Quickest cross-examination ever. Wonder if you could look at the two confections in the foreground for me, Mr. Von Karma. They were made for the contest semifinals. Both are quite exquisitely crafted, wouldn't you agree? Get to the point. As the nameplate suggests, these were Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost's entries. Mr. Gusto told us that confectionery design was far from his strong suit, and yet his work in the picture is just as good as Mr. Frost's. Exactly as good, in fact. We learned from another witness that their 2 entries also tasted exactly the same.
Objection.
What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that they were helping one another out. Let's take a closer look, shall we? While at first glance the 2 may appear to be superficially different, it soon becomes apparent that there are significant similarities in how they were put together. They're made of the same ingredients, taste the same, and share a similar design aesthetic. This picture is proof positive that the 2 are working together. You figured out that much, I suppose there's little point in denying it. Mr. Von Karma knew all along, weren't they? Didn't he? But I'll warn you, none of what you're about to hear will be to your advantage. Gusto and Frost's real connection. Let me confirm what you seem so desperate to prove. Gusto and Frost were indeed working together. Gusto spelled out the details of his relationship to Frost during his questioning last night. It seems they were helping one another right up until the day before the final. So you knew that the 2 were cooperating. Mr. Von Karma, why are you trying to bury the truth?
Objection.
Please, enough of the petty slander. I merely wanted to avoid you poking your nose around before I could provide proper context in court. It simply slipped my mind to explain that to you. Doesn't explain why he's being so slippery with the facts, though. Need to figure out what he's hiding. Can't let things end like this. Gusto and Frost's real connection.
Hold it.
But why were they cooperating? Gusto's sense of design is subpar, and Frost was an amateur confectioner at best. Neither of them stood a chance at making it through the contest alone. So what was their endgame? Why cooperate only until the day before the finals? Gusto claims to have ended the scheme, allegedly wanted to win the final on his own merits. His one and only goal was really to be crowned the world's best confectioner, and his pride would not allow him to do so with the help of another. Cheaters can only win hollow victories, I guess. I was under the impression that their collaboration had only lasted to the semi-finals. I'm starting to think it might have lasted up and through the final itself. Mr. Von Karma, I'd like to ask you some more about how long they worked together for, if you don't mind. If you must. Yeet him into the water? Gusto's sense of design is subpar, and Frost was an amateur confectioner at best.
Hold it.
Before you ask, I'm not objecting to your characterization of Mr. Gusto's design sense. Yeah, he admitted himself he wasn't all that great. He made what he alleged to be a likeness of me. Just thinking about the abomination he came out with turns up my stomach. Yeah, kinda like the guy's work. An artistically rich amateur, an artistically impoverished professional. In a way, it was inevitable that they would wind up working together.
Objection.
Oh, that wasn't it. Take a look at this. It has no bearing on this discussion whatsoever. Ah. If you're going to cut in, at least do so with some finesse. Now he's laughing at me.
Hold it.
You really believe that they were cooperating until the day before the finals and then just simply stopped? That seems a little strange to me, wouldn't you agree?
Objection.
I've told you the truth. Whether you find it strange or not is none of my concern. He was concerned enough to try to hide it from me only a few minutes ago, though. Which means there must have been a reason for that. Based on what Mr. Tangaroa's assessment, it sounded as if Mr. Frost's entry for the final was the clear winner. Which means Mr. must have still been working with Mr. Gusto, right? That's precisely what I was thinking. Must have some evidence that proves they were cooperating right up through the finals. This is what I have to present this on.
Objection.
There we go. It was the right evidence, wrong statement. They weren't working together during the finals. I find that a little hard to believe. Miss Scone is on record as having described Mr. Frost's creations as scrumptious. And while he was certainly skilled, I doubt even he could have become a world-class confectioner overnight. It seems far more likely to me that he and Mr. Gusto were still cooperating during the finals.
Objection.
How many times must I explain this to you? Assertions require proof. And one person's entirely subjective statement is not proof of anything. Besides, even amateurs can occasionally make delicious food. Perhaps Frost was simply lucky. My wife, for example, is an amateur whose cooking puts first-class chefs to shame. How is that not an entirely subjective statement? Furthermore, you are ignoring another crucial part of the pharmacist's testimony. Namely, that she also describes some of Frost's work as having been unbearably salty. In other words, your evidence actually shows that Frost failed to produce the perfect confectionery. Ugh. No more objections, I take it. Must be some way I can prove that Gusto and Frost are still collaborating. Mr. E, there's something that's been on my mind. Yes, what is it, Eddie? Mr. Frost's entry for the finals wouldn't have taken a while to make? Would imagine so. Making flavored water, freezing it all, and then carving 2 whole sculptures? Could he have really done that all and helped Mr. Gusto with his work? If it was me, I'd barely gotten as far as setting the flavored water up to freeze part. Just can't see how Mr. Frost could have pulled it all off. Perhaps there's some loyalty instinct in you after all, Eddie. Your ponderings certainly point to another possibility. Eddie's right. Mr. Frost would need to freeze his own large blocks of flavored ice to create his art. And there wouldn't have been time to do that during the contest itself. So what must Mr. Frost have done in order to finish his flavored ice entry within the time limit? Make the ice the day before the final, make the ice the day of the final, make it out of something else entirely. Make it the day before the final. Must have made the flavored ice the day before the final. Then all he would have had to do was sculpt it. What are you muttering about now? Oh, I'm sorry, I just realized something, that's all. Realized that you're correct. What? Mr. E? Hope you know what you're doing. Oh, accepting defeat at last, are we? The only thing I'm accepting is that perhaps one of the things you said was true. They were helping one another right up until the day before the final. Just as you said, the day before the final really did mark the end of their collaboration. Mr. Frost's entry was carved entirely from blocks of flavored ice. Ice which would have needed at least a day to freeze, whose flavors would therefore already been prepared by Mr. Gusto. Yes, which lines up perfectly with what Gusto told me, that he helped Frost until the day before the final. In that case, why didn't Mr. Frost reciprocate and help Mr. Gusto in return? Whoa.
Objection!
I can hardly be expected to read the minds of the dead. Why did Mr. Frost reciprocate and help Mr. Gusto in return? Okay.
Objection!
Perhaps not, but I imagine Mr. Gusto could tell us, so why don't you let us speak with him? Or do you still insist on your interrogation was as thorough as you claim? How dare you call my methods into question? That's not my intention, I just don't understand why you would obstruct a perfectly valid line of inquiry. Give me one good reason as to why you're keeping Mr. Gusto from me. One good reason? Certainly. The how and why of Frost and Gusto's collaboration have absolutely no bearing on this case.
Objection!
How can you possibly say that with any certainty? Their relationship had broken down for some reason. That could very well have been the motive behind this murder.
Objection!
Enquiry? No, are you suggesting it was spelled wrong? Enquiry with an E is right. That's a word. Could it indeed? Then why did Gusto himself tell me all about it? Why did the man you seem so keen on accusing share the details of his collaboration with the prosecution? Please tell me you have some proof to back up your preposterous suspicions this time. Yeah, enquiry is a word. Mr. Gusto only acted suspiciously on that one time we know of. And I imagine Mr. Von Karma is aware exactly what suspicious actions of what that suspicious action was. Which means this is probably a trap. Well, cat got your tongue. But even if this is a trap, I can't back down now. Mr. Gusto snuck into Mr. Frost's room, and we still don't know why. Fact alone is reason enough to suspect him. That's your only concern, then allow me to clear it up for you. I knew it. It was a trap. I was saving this for the trial, but consider it a taste of things to come. Plus, I'd hate for the proceedings to drag on because of your needless interjections. Here, take a look at this. Gusto and Frost, and their sons. Photo of Frost, Gusto, and their sons. Gusto's son visited his father daily up to the semifinal. Gusto snuck in a Frost room in order to retrieve this photograph. Welcome new students. That's what it says on the sign up there. But why? Seems their sons attended the same elementary school. Gusto was concerned of the fact that Mr. Frost and his acquaintance might place him under undue suspicion. A concern that you've just proved was entirely well-founded. Ugh. Gusto's actions make perfect sense, and you've given me no reason to believe otherwise. Gah! He's never going to let me talk to Mr. Gusto. Now, if you're quite done obstructing my investigation, I have things to be getting on with. That smug, self-righteous jerk. I'll give him something to be getting on with. What do we do, Mr. E? Mr. Tangaroa's finished if we can't figure something out. Things better be things to be getting on with. What exactly could those things be? He has a body, a murder weapon, and a suspect in custody. The prosecution means to pursue Mr. Tangaroa. Surely they all have all they need. So why is Mr. Von Karma still investigating the scene of the crime? Something on your mind, Mr. E? We're missing something. Something important. Mr. Von Karma has everything he needs to proceed with the prosecution of Mr. Tangaroa. And yet he still doesn't seem entirely confident of his case. If he was, why refuse to share information with Detective Bad? 24 hours post-murder and there's still no autopsy report. In addition, we still haven't solved the mystery of what happened to the evidence that went missing. Evidence that turned up in a not in Mr. Tangaroa's room, but in a most unusual place. So there was no traces of Mr. Frost's blood left in Mr. Tangaroa's room. And we found some in the fountain instead. Why? I think I know why. I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to put together, but... no. I suppose that was a bit forced. No, that wasn't it either. Mr. Frost's blood went missing from the crime scene. Yeah, I'm 0 for 2. Well, I'm 1 for 2, you know. But traces of it showed up in the fountain. Why go to the trouble of removing the blood from the scene after the body had been discovered? And why only the blood? Surely the body would have also been in the way? Wait, could someone have moved the body aside to get to the blood? No autopsy report. There's no autopsy report because the body's missing. So the body might have been moved aside, or even removed from the scene of the crime entirely. After all, as far as we know, there's still no autopsy report. We've learned plenty about the murder weapon and the suspect, but very little about the body itself. Our assumption thus far has been that the body has been recovered by the forensics team. But what if that assumption is false? What if Mr. Von Karma wouldn't show Detective Bad the autopsy report and has something other than spite? What if we've been thinking about this the wrong way around all along? The question isn't why did Mr. Von Karma hold back information about the body? It's did Mr. Von Karma even have any information about the body in the first place? How did things look from that angle? Perhaps the body had been removed by the police in order to carry out an autopsy. Perhaps it had already been removed and hidden away by the culprit before their arrival. Mr. E? We've both heard the rumors about Mr. Von Karma's questionable methods. Fabricated witness statements, shady deals, forged evidence even. Sure, everybody's heard of that stuff, but what's that got to do with us right now? I would never judge a person on the basis of rumors alone. Even Mr. Von Karma. Try my best not to let my preconceptions color out interactions with him. Nonetheless, it appears he may indeed be willing to twist the truth to his own ends. To twist the truth? You mean he's been playing dirty? I fear he might have been, and still is. I'm not about to let him get away with it. I'm returning to the prosecutor's office. Don't breathe a word about anything to that infernal attorney. Yes, sir.
Hold it!
Yes, what is it now? I have a few questions, Mr. Von Karma, about a certain fact you've been keeping from us. Really? You mean to call the methods of an officially sanctioned investigation into question yet again? I'm warning you, if you obstruct the police in their work any further, there will be consequences.
Objection!
It's not the police I have an issue with, Mr. Von Karma, it's you. What? Isn't it on the prosecution to work out who the real culprit of the crime is? What foolishness is this? I have no intention of debating what the prosecution's role is or is not with the likes of you. But let me make one thing clear. My job is to identify suspects and ensure that every last one of them is convicted at all costs. Believe me when I say I leave absolutely no room for doubt when I present my perfect, unassailable cases.
Objection!
And how far would you go for your perfect cases? Would you create facts out of whole cloth, perhaps? Huh. And I thought you had outdone yourself already. But now you intend to accuse me of fabricating evidence? I do. Because it's why you've done nothing but hinder Detective Bad from doing his job at every turn. What are you talking about? You didn't shut him out of the investigation because you wanted to keep an eye on us. You did it to stop him from finding out that you don't have the body. What? He doesn't have the body? Ridiculous. You're clutching at straws. I will tolerate no more of your preposterous slander. Allow us to examine it. Prove me wrong if you can. Afraid you'll have to try a little harder than that. I'm under no obligation whatsoever to prove your baseless accusations, one way or another.
Objection!
As you must have seen for yourself, a piece of buddied chocolate is missing from the scene of the crime. Why did it disappear, and where did it go? Why does it matter? Some blood went missing from the chest where the body was found. So what? So what indeed? That's precisely my question. The body was still at the scene when the police got here. Removing the body would accomplish nothing. However, let us suppose for a moment that the body was not. If someone had wanted to erase any trace of what happened in that room, then it all makes perfect sense.
Objection!
What is this petty obsession with the bloodstain? But since it's so important to you, why don't you tell me where you believe it went? Of course, after all, evidence is everything, as you never tire of telling us. I believe this should back up my theory quite nicely. What evidence do I have that shows where the blood from Mr. Tangaroa's room went? Cute kids.
Take that!
Traces of the victim's blood were found in the fountain, along with traces of the chocolate from Mr. Tangaroa's room. I believe the missing piece of the blood-stained chocolate was dumped into the stream that flows into the fountain, which strongly points towards one certain fact. Someone purposely disposed of the body after the body had been removed from the chest. Blood, not the body. Ugh. Mr. Von Karma, where did you find the body? You didn't find it, did you? Answer me. Where did you get your hands on that kind of evidence? You have neither the authority nor the means to carry out that kind of analysis on the fountain water. No, but I do. Curse you, Bad. Been a thorn on my side from the moment you were assigned. Well, no longer. As of now, you're officially off the case. I was barely on it in the first place. Mr. Von Karma, you still haven't answered my question. Will you admit it? Will you confirm that no body was ever recovered? It's really quite the claim, you know, and one for which you'll never find any proof of, I'm afraid. What must I do to get an answer out of him? Now, if you don't mind, I've given you quite enough of my precious time already. I look forward to destroying you in court, Gregory Edgeworth. Your precious logic and theories won't save you then. Nothing will. Mark my words, Mr. Von Karma. Your methods will be your undoing. No matter how you try to hide the truth, I'll bring it all to light in the end. Forgive me, Detective. Didn't mean to put you in a difficult position. Don't sweat it. It's always gonna end this way. Honestly, nobody's ever sidelined me the way he did before. First time for everything, huh? You know, think you might be right about the body being missing. I am, and I'll prove it in court. Heh. Well, if there's anything I could do to help, just say the word. Since you know, I'm off the case now. It's very kind, and I'm sorry to keep asking favors of you, Detective Bad, but there's one more thing. Hey, what are you guys whispering about? Come on, let me in the secret. Alright, Eddie, the detective and I were just arranging a little insurance for the trial. I think we have enough to see Mr. Tangaroa acquitted. But I prefer to have an ace in the hole, just in case. And what is it? You'll find out in the courtroom. Wait, what? You're letting me join you? Of course I am. You're my assistant, after all. I'll be more than that by next year. I'll be a full-fledged attorney, you know? We could take on Mr. Von Karma together. Indeed. Well, I'm hoping we'll have freed Mr. Tangaroa by then. But if we're up against Mr. Von Karma, I guess we can't rule out the possibility that this might take some time. Right, but we'll do everything we can in the meantime. I know you can beat Mr. Von Karma, Mr. E. I believe in you. Can't allow Mr. Tangaroa to remain imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. And we won't. I'll expose Mr. Von Karma's lies if it's the last thing I do. And that's where we will stop for tonight. Stop. Shut up. Shut up. I'm gonna get out of here. No, don't save. Yeah, sleep time. Alright. Well, this has been another banger stream. Got a lot done tonight, and it lasted almost exactly 5 hours. In fact, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5 hours. Anyway, it's been fun hanging out here with you. Yeah, it's been great. And thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you everyone who came by, raided, followed, everything tonight. We got a lot of raids again. It's been really nice having those lately. And I hope, hope it continues to happen, because it's really cool. It's really cool to have those people here. But thank you. More to the point, just thank you for coming. Can I have your Discord? Okay, later. We'll talk about that some other time. Yeah, I'll give it to you, but I'm usually busy on Discord, so don't expect me to always be available. Anyway, thank you so much for coming, everyone. I will be back Saturday with probably the rest of this case. And then Case 4 will start Sunday. Or maybe Saturday, I don't know. We'll see what it's like on Saturday. But, tomorrow I won't be here. Thanks, was lurking mostly. It's all good, Razu. Thank you for stopping by, as always. We're gonna plow through the rest of this game. We've got about two and a half cases left, and we're gonna make it happen. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, everyone. If you want to watch more streams, stick around. I am going to raid. Who is streaming right now? I raided Razim a while ago. He's cool. Check him out. Eclipse Protocol. Haven't raided them in a while. They're playing Path of Exile 2, which I believe is early access. So stick around. Check it out. Avocado. Yep, that's one of my emotes. And say hi to Eclipse Protocol for me. Thank you all so much. I'll see you Saturday night with more Edgeworth. Take care, everyone. Good night. And no more ghost in here. Normal. Well.